Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
Hey everyone, Lock On here, with all the nerdy news that's fit to rage at. And we'll start off with, well, what did you expect? What else has really happened this week? It's been on everyone's tongues. Everyone's been freaking out. It's the Xbox One. Alright, so let's get started with everything that was revealed during the event. Right off the bat, Kinect integration. Now, unlike the Xbox 360 where the Kinect came later, and you got to buy it for $150, this time, it comes right in the box when you buy the Xbox One. Alright, next is a thing I know a lot of people have been complaining about online, is how focused the event was about the Xbox One being able to play live TV. And yes, even I'll admit, with how much I'll defend the Xbox One, they did focus on it a bit too much. It seemed like almost half of the announcement was that you can watch TV. And I can see why people think it's like Microsoft has forgotten the hardcore gamers that it's supposed to be marketing to. But I think they already assumed we know this thing's going to play games. I mean, with all the extra stuff the 360 can do, it can still play games. I think they were just trying to focus on all the extras the Xbox One can do, and then they'll focus on games at E3. Up next, this is something my friend JGB90 and I actually found really interesting during the announcement, was the addition of the video Skype chats. Now, while it does kind of seem like just an add-on, the fact that we can video call during games or movies is actually pretty cool. JGB90 and I, as you know, do Let's Plays, we do a lot of game recordings, and just being able to have that face cam is actually a really cool addition, instead of the traditional party chat. Alright, let's talk specs. The Xbox One is going to have 8 GB of RAM, along with 5 billion transistors. Now, I'm still not sure what transistors do for a gaming console. I should probably look that up sometime. But aside from that, it's got an 8-core CPU and a 5 GB hard drive. Now, I know a lot of people are saying since you have to download your games to the Xbox One to play them now, that might not matter so much, but it's still half a terabyte. My 250 gig Xbox 360 with several games downloaded into it, I still have roughly 97 gigs left, and I've had some of this save data since I got my original Xbox back in 2007. They also showed off a bit of the Xbox One's controller. Now, personally, I really like it. I loved the Xbox 360 controller. The D-pad was a little wonky, but I mean, aside from that, the analog stick layout, the triggers just always felt really nice. And this just kind of slightly improves upon that. It looks a bit bigger, which is good for me, because the 360 controller never really fit in my hands very well. Now, one thing I know a lot of people were excited about during the announcement was the fact that your Xbox Live account and your gamertag will carry over to the Xbox One. So that massive gamer score everyone's been trying to accumulate will just carry on over, and we can still try to make it grow even bigger. And as kind of, sort of, an achievement whore, that makes me pretty excited. Now, I know I can't speak for everyone, but for me at least, Xbox Live has always been a pretty dependable service. Just about any time I turn on my Xbox, I can almost always just log right in and hop into whatever game I'm into at the time. And what they're running now is roughly 15,000 servers. Well, announced during the event, by the end of the year when the Xbox One launches, Microsoft will have upgraded to over 300,000 servers. Alright, let's get into some important stuff. Now, as I'm sure you all know, everyone's been raging about the Xbox One since minutes after the announcement ended. Well, I'm going to use this part of the video to try and clear some of that up. It's still not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as bad as everyone once thought. Alright, now one of the biggest points of rage has been the kind of block on used games. Now, the news started off that used games wouldn't be blocked, but if you weren't the first owner of this particular game, you'll need to pay a fee for the license. So basically, say Halo 5 comes out, and I buy it. Once I download it into my Xbox One, it will download a license with it. Now, once I, say, give that game to a friend, or sell it, the next person to own that game would need to pay a fee when they booted it up, so they could get that license. So essentially, they're buying the rights to the license that I had as the original owner of the game. Alright, addendum to that update. Used games will not require a fee, but need an authentication check. Now this is kind of a rumor right now, but basically this is saying, when you download a new game to your hard drive, it also downloads a unique encryption code that's tied to your account. Now when you say sell that game or give it to someone, and it's basically once it's installed onto a new system, your code is de-authenticated, or however you pronounce that, and it moves the new account to the new account until you download it again. Now, this ties into some other news that came out that Major Nelson stated. It's basically, if you ever want to play a game at a friend's house, all you need to do is upload the account of the owner, and you'll be able to play it on that console. Now, as I said, this is kind of just a rumor. It's not concrete yet, since the source was from an unidentified Microsoft employee, so I realize that can be anyone, but it makes sense, and hopefully we'll be finding out in the upcoming weeks to E3. Now, relating to the whole used game issue, the only thing that is 100% confirmed is that, quote, the Xbox One is designed to enable customers to trade and resell games at retail, end quote. This is from MajorNelson.com, his personal blog. Alright, the next major point of rage. The always online rumor that people have been complaining about for months. Now, it was massive, air quotes, confirmed after the conference by Microsoft's executive VP that the Xbox One would need to connect to the internet once every certain amount of time to be able to update. Now, the VP said that this amount of time was 24 hours. So the Xbox One would need to connect to the internet at least once every day to be able to update. Now, later in the day, Major Nelson denied that, saying that the 24-hour mark was just one of many possible scenarios. So, from what I took from all of the corrections later in the day after the announcement, the VP pretty much shouldn't have been let off his short leash. So, we're back to no one really knows a lot. Several Microsoft employees on Twitter and other social medias keep teasing that we'll be happy once E3 comes around. And personally, I hope that's true. I mean, I'd love the Xbox One to do very well. I'd love for the PS4 to do very well. I mean, we're at the point in gaming culture where these games can just be absolutely gorgeous. And if we can tie in great storytelling with that, that would just be awesome. And having an outstanding console to play them on would just make everything even better. Alright, seriously, now let's talk about some games. One of the biggest complaints I've heard is that, well, they didn't show off any games. Okay, this is getting to be one of my biggest pet peeves. While, yes, it would have been cool to see some Xbox One gameplay, it was a console reveal, not a gameplay reveal. Gameplay is for E3. That's 2 weeks away. Calm down. This was only to show off the abilities of the console and the features it'll have. So I'm asking everyone, please save your rage till after E3 and we know more. I mean, at this point, it's just kind of like everyone's yelling about things we just don't know. So until then, I think we should at least give Microsoft the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully they'll impress us. And if not, by all means, rage then. Maybe they'll even fix it by the time the Xbox One launches. Hey, sports games! And next... Okay, I'm done ranting. I'm sorry. Now let's talk about the games that they did announce. Forza Motorsports 5. Now, I was a big fan of Forza 4. It was a gorgeous game, and I expect even greater things out of Forza 5. And if I do end up picking up an Xbox One, Again, still not decided. Forza 5 will definitely be one of the first games in my library. Aside from that, they announced one of those 8 new IPs I told you about, Quantum Break. Not much is really known about this game. It sounds like it's going to be another game-TV crossover, kind of like that game Defiance that came out, and its matching show on the Sci-Fi Channel. But, again, almost nothing is known about it. They showed a bit of a live-action trailer, and then some CGI instances of a ship crashing into a bridge, and there were some guys with guns, so it might be a shooter, but it might not. We'll probably see more at E3. And the reason this has been a pet peeve for me is the thing is they kind of did announce games. Yes, they didn't show them, and yes, they didn't say any particular names really, but they confirmed that 15 launch titles are in the works right now, 8 of which are brand new IPs. Now, some of the biggest news at the announcement, at least for me, and I realize this has nothing to do with games, this has nothing really to do with the Xbox One, but once they announced this, I nerded out. I loved the Machinima series Forward Unto Dawn that looked like a gorgeous Halo movie. Well, it has been announced that there will be a live-action Halo TV show broadcast on Xbox One, directed by Steven Spielberg. And of course, I don't know who on earth was shocked by this, but Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of Call of Duty. In fact, I've probably been one of its biggest haters. Enjoyed it back when it was World War II, but ever since they started doing the modern stuff, not the biggest fan. But even this one looks pretty interesting to me. I mean, even the fish have AI. Now, even though this was Call of Duty, this was the part of the announcement I was waiting for. Let's look at some of the graphical improvements between the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. I know this could easily all just be CGI work and not really be comparable to gameplay, but if this is what games will look like on the Xbox One, I mean, I think we should all be ready for our eyes to start bleeding. This looks gorgeous. The comparisons from Modern Warfare 3 to Ghosts is just drastic. Alright, on to other news. Yes, Xbox One was the big news this week, but some other stuff did happen. Xbox One box art! Okay, sorry. Last thing. The box art for Forza 5 showed up on the internet shortly after the announcement, and I like it. I mean, it's simple, it's just got a green bar on the bottom and a green bar on the top, and then the art in the middle, but I mean, it looks nice, I like it. Okay, seriously now, non-Xbox One related news. Grand Theft Auto 5, which is easily one of the most anticipated titles of this year. Earlier this week, the pre-order bonuses popped up on GameStop.com for Grand Theft Auto. So just for pre-ordering it, you get to use the Atomic Blimp in-game. Now, aside from this, the very expensive special editions and collector's editions and those bonuses were also announced. Personally, I'll probably just be getting the regular version. The other stuff seems cool, but it's a bit too pricey for me to really care about some physical merchandise. Also, a game that I know a lot of people loved, Plants vs. Zombies, is now a Facebook game. Plants vs. Zombie Adventures. It's on Facebook now. Now, it's kind of like a mix of Farmville and The Sims on Facebook inside of Plants vs. Zombies. You can grow your own plants to defend against the zombies, customize your hometown, defending from your friends when they decide to send the zombie horde after you for an attack, but then you can retaliate with a zombie horde of your own. Then once all that's done, you can take your plants on the road for some tower defense, plant on zombie action. Alright everyone, that's all the news I've got for the week of May 20th, 2013. I'll be back next week with an all-new video with all the news I can scrounge up. See you then.